Hey, everybody. Hope you're doing good today. Welcome into the final day of the book of Judges. We're going to finish it up today, Judges chapter 21. And it's just this crazy thing, right? This crazy thing. We're still kind of going on that arc that we've been on for a few days as we've gone through the book of Judges, where you have this Levite who took a concubine and he ended up throwing her out to be basically abused all night long. She ended up dying. He cut up her body, put her all over the 12 tribes of Israel, all over the land. So the tribes have gone to war against the tribe of Benjamin, who allowed this to happen. And it's just this awful disaster. At this point in the history of Israel, Benjamin is almost completely and utterly destroyed. In fact, that's a big part of the conversation of everything that happens today, is the fact that Benjamin's about destroyed, and they don't want to see the tribe of Benjamin wiped off of the face of the earth. And yeah, it's a big part of the conversation. Oh no, man, we've really screwed up here. And so you're going to see Israel react, and we're going to talk about what do we do whenever we mess up, because that really is the question today. Today, as we end, there's a key verse that I think is a key verse for the book of Judges, and it is the very last verse of the book. We see pieces of this verse all throughout the book of Judges, but this one just puts it all together and summarizes it perfectly. And I'm going to start at that last verse because I want you to have that in the front of your mind whenever we read everything else. It says, Judges 21, verse 25 says, "In those days there was no king in Israel. Everyone did what was right in his own eyes." Okay, that's kind of the theme, right? That's the big point, the big verse of the book. So here we go. Judges chapter 21. I'm going to start reading at verse 1 after a drink of some delicious Walla Walla coffee. Oh, that's good. Coffee sponsors, you can apply. Folgers, you cannot. Maxwell House, no. Just no. Good coffee, you can apply. That'd be great. Also, by way of housekeeping, this is going to be our last weekday Bible study for a while. I am in process of moving, and so I need to pack all this up. And so I'm going to be packing all this up, and then we're going to be landing where we're going to be. So it may be about 2 weeks before I'm back on here with more weekday Bible studies, but it will continue. It will resume. And so that's the good news. We're going to keep doing weekday Bible studies. I don't know if the time's going to change. I'll let you know, right? I'll put it out on social media. But this is going to continue. So if you enjoy this, it will definitely come back in a couple of weeks, and we're going to start a different book of the Bible and trudge through it together because I've just greatly enjoyed it, and I hope that you have too. All right, now on to the Bible. Judges chapter 21, beginning at verse 1 says this. It says, "Now the men of Israel had sworn at Mizpah." Remember, Mizpah is when they came together. It's a place where they came together to fight, to figure out how they were going to fight against Benjamin. So they swore at Mizpah, "None of us shall give his daughter in marriage to Benjamin." In other words, they're just kicking Benjamin out, right? "And the people came to Bethel and sat there till evening before God, and they lifted up their voices and they wept bitterly," because they know that they've just basically wiped off an entire tribe off the face of the earth. "And they said, 'O Lord, the God of Israel, why has this happened in Israel, that today there should be one tribe lacking in Israel?' And the next day the people rose early and built an altar and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. And the people of Israel said, 'Which of all of the tribes of Israel did not come up in the assembly of the Lord?' For they had also taken a great oath concerning him who did not come up to the Lord to Mizpah, saying, 'He shall surely be put to death.' And the people of Israel had compassion for Benjamin their brother, and said, 'One tribe is cut off from Israel this day. What shall we do for the wives, for those who are left, since we have sworn by the Lord that we will not give any of our daughters for wives?' And they said, 'What one is there of the tribes of Israel that did not come up to the Lord at Mizpah?' And behold, no one had come from the camp of Jabesh Gilead to the assembly. For when the people were mustered, behold, not one of the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead were there. So the congregation sent 12,000 of their bravest men there, and commanded them, Go and strike the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead with the edge of the sword, also the women and the little ones. This is what you shall do. Every male and every woman that has lain with a male, yet you shall devote to destruction. And they found among the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead 400 young virgins who had not known a man by lying with him. And they brought them to the camp at Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan. Then the whole congregation sent word to the people of Benjamin, who were at the rock of Rimmon, and proclaimed peace to them. And Benjamin returned at that time, and they gave them the women who they had saved alive of the women of Jabesh Gilead, but they were not enough for them. And the people had compassion on Benjamin, because the Lord had made a breach in the tribes of Israel. Okay, you can kind of see what's happening here, right? So what's happening, and this is nuts, okay? I'm just saying, this is insanity. But what's happening here is they have decided, okay, we've about destroyed the tribe of Benjamin, like almost utterly destroyed it. We want to see the tribe of Benjamin carry on. We don't want to see the entire tribe of Benjamin removed from the face of the earth. And so who can we find who didn't help us destroy Benjamin? We're going to go destroy them, right? We've made this oath to God that was going to be destroyed. So then they go and destroy them, everybody except for the young virgin women, right? And so they're basically saying, okay, now you are going to marry the men of Benjamin, whether or not you want to, right? That's what's happening here. By going to Jabesh Gilead, they're not destroying a tribe. They are destroying a group within a tribe, right? And so they're bringing these women to Benjamin, and they're saying, you are now going to marry these Benjamite men because you were not part of the vow that you couldn't marry them. That's what they're saying. Okay, it's this crazy plan that they've come up with all on their own, and it's really just heaping death on top of death and chaos on top of chaos. It's not really super beneficial, right? And what they're going to find is that there's not enough, right? It's not even enough to do what they were planning to do. All of this is born out of a concept in the Old Testament. There's this concept of life in the Old Testament that to be able to continue one's lineage is a really, really important thing. It's so important, in fact, you would read in the book of Ruth, that's the very next book of the Bible, you read in the book of Ruth this story about this man named Boaz, who is a kinsman redeemer, right? So Ruth's husband dies. Ruth is childless, and the Bible sets forth this concept where if you were to die and your wife was childless, it would be your brother's responsibility, or if not a brother, if you don't have one, a kinsman within your family's responsibility to take that woman as their wife and to provide children for you so that your name and your lineage could carry on. What Israel is finding their situation now is that they've basically wiped the name of Benjamin off of the face of the earth, and they don't want that to happen. So they're trying to make sure that Benjamin's name lives on. That's the goal that they're working towards here. But keep in mind, it was them who wiped Benjamin off the face of the earth in the first place, and now they're killing all these other people and basically enslaving these women as wives, and it's this like crazy chaotic plan they have, and it gets worse. It goes from bad to worse. In verse 16, then the elders of the congregation said, what shall we do for wives for those who are left, since the women are destroyed out of Benjamin? And they said, there must be an inheritance for the survivors of Benjamin, that a tribe not be blotted out from Israel. Yet we cannot give wives from our daughters, for the people of Israel had sworn, cursed be he who gives a wife to Benjamin. So they said, behold, there is this yearly feast of the Lord at Shiloh, which is north of Bethel, on the east of the highway that goes up from Bethel to Shechem and south of Lebonah. And they commanded the people of Benjamin, saying, look at this command. This is nuts. Go and lie in ambush in the vineyard and watch. If the daughters of Shiloh come out to dance the dances, then come out of the vineyards and snatch each man his wife from the daughters of Shiloh, and go to the land of Benjamin. And when their fathers or their brothers come to complain to us, we will say to them, grant them graciously to us, because we did not take for each man of them his wife in battle, neither did you give them to them, else you would now be guilty. And the people of Benjamin did so, and took their wives according to their number from the dancers whom they carried off. Then they went and returned to their inheritance and rebuilt the towns and lived in them. And the people of Israel departed from there at that time, every man to his tribe and family. And they went out from there, every man to his inheritance. In those days, there was no king in Israel. Everyone did what was right in his own eyes. It's nuts. So now we're kidnapping other women, right? And basically forcing their fathers, their brothers, whoever, to allow us to do that, right? We're strong-arming them, and we're going to make them become the wives of Benjamin, so that Benjamin isn't deleted off the face of the earth. It's this crazy plan, and can you see how God isn't anywhere in it? They're afraid to break the oaths that they've made before God, but they're not willing to go to God to ask him the plan that they should set in place. They're reacting. They're not being proactive. They're being reactive. And when we're reactive like that, we cause more devastation than we heal. That's what happens, and that's what's happening here, right? They're really causing greater devastation than they're healing. But these are their plans. And here's what I would say, that very last verse, and this was why I think that last verse is so critical for the book of Judges. In those days, there was no king in Israel. Everyone did what was right in his own eyes. They're going to ask for kings soon, but what I really believe that verse is telling us is that none of them are really even yielding to the Lord as king, to the Lord as their guide. They're just simply living for whatever whatever whim they can live for, right? And so now they have this whim that says we need to save Benjamin after we've almost wiped them off of the face of the earth. And how are we going to save Benjamin? Well, we have to give them wives. Well, how are we going to give them wives? Oh, look over here. Here's some men we can kill, and we can give them some wives. Oh, that's not enough. Oh, look over here. Here's some women we can kidnap, and we can give them wives, right? They're just looking for human solutions to human problems. There is no king in Israel. Everyone's just doing what's right in their own eyes. And they should have taken a step back, and they should have gone before the Lord and said, Lord, look at the mess that we've made. How do you see it best fit that we fix this? And if they would have, I have a feeling that there would be a very different conclusion to this book. That's it. That's the book of Judges. Thank you so much for joining us today, for watching this. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, you can always leave those in the comment section. If you find this video helpful, you can subscribe to this channel. Of course, you can click the bell icon to receive notifications when we go live. And last but not least, I would greatly appreciate it if you'd share this with one person who you believe would find it helpful. As I said at the beginning of the video, this is the last one for a couple of weeks while my family and I are in transition and moving, but these will resume in just a couple weeks. Follow my social media. I'll let you know when they're going to start back up. That's it for today.